Damn.
The other thing I thought of doing, like, oh yeah, if anyone knocks tomorrow, it'd be the test pressing. But I thought of like doing like a promo video of the test press. And get the vinyl pre-orders, you know what I mean? Just like a little snippet of each one, just playing it on the deck, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then put that up as a video, like, you know.
Man. I was like, how y'all got in here without me? We got God Cypher Divine, D Christian, Law Mathematics, Shaquem, Apex Cypher, Knowledge Born, Divine Truth, Joseph, Calm Islamly, Born Eternal, Lord of Love, Peace, Fly Phrase, Dr. Denkenstein.
Dr. Denkenstein.
Yeah. Musa Deep, Waju, Jasim, Sir R.E. Newton, Lord Hashim, Magnetic, Nigel Brim, Motherland Gardens, got Arkansas. Oh, alright, you could post before the show, that's peace. I gotta start doing that then. Dion Bess. All right, that's peace. So yeah, today I was going to start off with the topic of how do you know who the traitor is? How we recognize a traitor? That's in the Wisdom Build degree, that is. Because that's also dealing with why that traitor is also the traitor. Universal 7. Calm Islami said if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Word 60 said, by his fabulous claims. Alright, Universal 7. Which shirts you ordered? I got a couple orders in. District 120 said through examination, Universal, what's the science? So you know the traitor, right? wisdom is not building or destroying. Divine truth. The question was, how do you know the traitor? Well, as you said, the one who can't show and prove, they can only speak on the mystery. Asiatic mathematics said if he can't provide you with at least some type of sample of the gold he is promising, he is most likely lying. This is what I'm saying. That when he's speaking, and you don't really know what he's talking about. Because he's speaking with ulterior motives the whole time. $793. You understand what I'm saying? When the person is speaking and they wisdom ain't building or destroying, that's how you know the traitor. Because you're never going to come to a full understanding. You're never going to get the gold. You're never going to get the best part from what they promising you. So see, when somebody said they can't show and prove what they say, because when we deal with the trading post, right? What's the trading post? Anybody got any understanding on that? What the trading post is? Where CC said the terminal. What you mean by the terminal? You mean like San Corey and all that? You got the bar and Queen Mecca piece. Asiatic mathematics said a trading post is the literal sense. In the literal sense, it's like a market for bartering. They had those back in the day, all on the business at churches and monasteries. While you said your land that you sold to the trader, I'm on my post, he ain't buying nothing, and I ain't buying his tickets. Calm Islam, he said, if someone senses weakness or dissatisfaction, if someone senses weakness or dissatisfaction in you, they can set up a trading post D. Christian said you and the 1 to 14 on the 7th degree, or he's asking. Supreme Justice said it's simply business in regards to the trading post. 793rd said whenever he chooses to set up his post offices for his work, you got knowledge a lot. District 120 said them exchanging large proportion of power. Word 60 said Roberts International Terminal, which was built at an outpost for American troops during World War. That's the first time I heard that. Well, in the business said he had to get a permit and be allowed to trade. Who do you have to get a permit from? See, the trading post first is for the exchanging of ideas. Like first they have to exchange the ideas, you understand what I mean, and make friendly relations. And deal with, you know, some type of nature of, you know, what we got in common. Like even if just what we got in common is that you got some resource over here that the other side don't have over there, you first gotta trade the ideas. So if we saying that the goal is the best part, and the best part is the understanding, that's the first goal that was never received. Was a true understanding of the ideas that was being exchanged right there. So now because you don't understand the ideas that this person is exchanging with you, you could fall for these material games. So that's the first thing before you get to all these other sciences of doing trading. So y'all, this is the science of what is it that you learn about the interaction. The boss said, and once the exchange takes place, he takes control. Yeah. But see, unfortunately, he took control as soon as the ideas was exchanged from the very beginning. Because how could you come to a true understanding of what the deal the person is making with you, right? When they got ulterior motives. So they speaking and you're not coming to an understanding of what they saying. 379 years ago. I mean, when you walking around every day right now, who's the traitors that you encountering? Jason Rosario TV. D. Christian said also, when trading with different cultures, you need to first understand their ways and actions, because you can unknow. All these things got to be exchanged first before we exchange the goods. That's why I say you got to understand what the trading post is. Rome J. Universal Builder, Allah, peace. Where you from, Universal Builder? God Cyber Divine asks, what do we learn that Allah has not already known? All minds one right now. How can I not know what Allah has already manifested? And if that's, I already told you what my attitude towards, once you can't learn anymore, then you might as well go ahead and be one. Be one with the mind. Knowledge is infinite. Universal Builder is from the Oasis. That's peace. That's extreme peace. But see, we just
so happy about this little fucking button.
We just dealt with the traitor, right? But what about the traitor? He's also one who comes around, right? And after your interaction with him, he disappears and there's no one left speaking your language. A lot of times the traitor and the traitor are the same person. They're not just buddies. Got wise. See, these are all people that, when they wisdom, right, you don't get no understanding. You can never get to the best part, because a traitor, right, is one who, he betrays the principle. Rather, the principle is, y'all relationship. Rather, the principle is some, organization y'all may be dealing with. You will never get to the best part dealing with a traitor, because by the same token, everything they said was for ulterior motives. Supreme Justice said, for a traitor, is business, never personal. He said, facts, they come amongst you seeking to gain that which they can utilize to rule you. Yeah, wise, everything is peace out here. We building out here. So in both instances, right, you're talking about that language and how they exchanging ideas, but because you don't really understand the language that they speaking. No, the traitor disappeared and there was no one there to speak their language. Right? What else it tells you about language? Sincere Shakima came in the room. What else did it tell you about language? Some of my high scientists in here that know 120 lessons. Universal Builder said that's why they could not swim that 9,000 miles back home. The traitor misled them, misinformed them of their destination and their purpose. Well, as you said, when we ran them over the hot Arabian desert, all in the business said we ran them up from the root of civilization and took from them everything except their language. Culture degree in the 1 to 14. So see, like we were saying the other day, when you deal with these different languages, you know what I'm saying? The language that they use in politics, the language that they use in medicine, the legalese that they use in courts. All of these places are trading posts. See, a lot of people, they want to avoid these different trading posts.
It's 8 o'clock.
Right now, because of what's going on, but they always been trading posts. And whatever, see, like I said, they first had to trade the ideas. Whatever is your idea of being there, whatever brought you to that post. Yeah, the courthouse, that's a trading post. Especially the courthouse is the slave market. The courthouse is the slave market. Let's face it. It tells you specifically, right, in the 13th Amendment that slavery is in jail. So when you go to the courthouse, people get paid, and you wind up in slavery. And they in there speaking a language that you don't understand. See, now once if you notice, see when brother get in there and he start going to law library and he start learning the language, then they start going on appeal. They start going on appeal and giving us all that time back. Because now they realize, oh, when the person said that, oh, that's what they meant. Oh, I thought they meant something else. Wait a minute, if that's what you meant, then wait, what about this right here? But because you didn't speak the language, you could never come to a full understanding. Just like I say with the degrees. If you don't know the degrees, you're never going to come to a full understanding. Until you know all of them. You know, like if you know, right, if you know A to Y really, really good, like super duper good, you know A all the way up to Y, but you don't know about Z. There's going to be letters there's going to be words you can't spell. There's going to be things that's over your head. Queen Mecca said, my only issue is where we running the guys to that was thought to be the devil, noticing here in Savior C that devils better off than those with some level of knowledge that will never, well, that degree is about Yakub's grafted devils. Now, you may have to bring it up to date. And use it on some devils of any background. You know. Doesn't matter what your background is, the devil is the devil. But that degree in particular is talking about Yakub's grafted devil. You got true self. Why I said, and the master, the judge, sending you to a different plantation. Fly Phrase said they handing out years up in there. Queen Mega said, making me feel some were making doubles to avoid responsibility. It's the devil. I mean, you should check out the live from, what day was that? Not yesterday, on the Wisdom Equality Day. The live where, can a devil fool God? True self. Queen Divine Zia. What's going on? All on the business said, yeah, when he said learn their language and beat their case. Cypher King, what's the science, Lord? Once once you learn to speak the language, now you can come to an understanding of what's going on in it. But that's what the traitor has to do. Listen, even when different sciences, right, how they use a language, a form of communication. You understand what I'm saying? How they, different trades, right? They, mechanics. Does anybody know why they got so many different tools? Like if you open the hood of a car, in order for you to take a part across, take a piece of whatever off the car, right? You gotta have this special screwdriver or this special bit or whatever it is. Does anybody know why that is? All in the business said, and they got a Fifth Amendment that says you should not even speak because you are in the jurisdiction of their language, and anything you say will be held against you, not used for you. Queen Devonzia said, maritime law is the origins of all law and supposed order that the Euro has instituted in all of these places. I don't know about that. Dion Best said their lies, stealing and causing confusion amongst the righteous. Then we marched them across what? Hot Arabian desert. Jasim said, because each tool is designed for a specific purpose. Each tool, SW said, each tool for specific systems. Sincere Shakima said they all serve different purposes. Now, Wise is of the same mindset as me. It's to prevent some people from removing it and making sure the customer comes to them. It's a Masonic thing. These different industries, the different trades, right? See, SW said, oh yeah, they got their tricks, the tricks of the trades, right? Is to make there be some barrier from the common people being able to do what they can do. See, that's one of the sciences, even when you deal with that, the what you call them, the Hiram Abiff science. The science with the builders. What is it? It's the tools. If you got the tools and the knowledge of how to use the tools, then you get paid on the job. So all this different sides, don't get me wrong, you know what I'm saying, when you go certain places, you would like to know that the people is qualified. You would like to know that the people is qualified. But at the same time, you know what's the origin of the vast majority of the licensing? Like, people having to have a license to be a plumber. A license to be all these different things. Does anybody know what the origin of that is? Why I said it's a business practice. Why iPhone screens crack so easily when Android screens don't. Jasim said barrier to entry. That's what the licensing You know, a lot of that came about, during and after Reconstruction. That's a whole other era. We could have a whole video just on the things that we still living with from Reconstruction. You know what I'm saying? But that was instituted to stop black people from being able to use any skills that they had, that might interfere with white labor. District 120 said, why is the devil teaching keep our people illiterate? SW said, they have to go through a state commission board to qualify. Origin is not too privy on offhand. Universal Builder said, peace, language, and the tools Allah gave us are supreme mathematics and supreme alphabet. Precisely. It was only a matter of time before we got around it right there. Is that see how language is used? You see how language is the law and law is the language? Especially in the case of legalese. You see how they use their language. D. Christian said they also do that with unions and contractors. Wise also said, like, unions making sure black men don't get jobs. SW said it was used to exclude us once upon a time. The boss said, without the license, your skill will not be accepted or recognized. SW said, equal op rights kicked in. CAIB, man. Fly Frey said they don't just let any old body get a license. You got to be qualified to their satisfaction. D. Christian said double talk. Queen Devonzia said maritime law is the inception of legalese and where the play of words is originated. I mean, you got some British common law in there that predates this maritime law. Universal Builder said, with these tools, we can at the very least know how to move as we do. The knowledge we will acquire, the wisdom to learn the language. One can also learn another language to a degree by observing them. Yeah, true indeed. But one side to that is observing how they use their language. See, do we really use our language, or, you know what I'm saying, we just speak it, in passing? You know what I mean? Have we become just high-powered parrots? Queen Devon Zia said, I see that one must be educated in the wordplay and tediousness of paperwork in order to play in any facet of the devil. Yeah, because that's what they use. Like, see, they quick to tell you, right, that the pillars of their, the pillars of their civilization is, capitalism and democracy. Night Owl, peace, what's going on? R. Dion Best said Black's Law Dictionary. See, that's what they quick to tell you. Economics, that's another field where they have particular jargon. That if you don't understand, you could easily be led in the wrong direction. So the 85% is, of course, usually led in the wrong direction because they don't base what they doing on knowledge anyway. If you already basing everything you're dealing with, right, on emotion, whether that emotion is fear, you know what I'm saying, or, whether it's, the feel-good emotion of whatever temporary thrill that might bring you. If you're already basing things based on that, then you're going to constantly be being led in the wrong direction. See, in all these different sciences, you got to remember, like for instance, somebody earlier mentioned body language. See, when you go through different sciences, hold on one second, y'all. Let me make alright, it all looks good. Smell good? Oh man. Yeah, I went kind of right in today because when I came in, the room was already full, so I just we went right in today. You know what I'm saying? But when you're dealing with the science of language, you know what I mean, just like on a regular level. You know what I'm saying? There is brothers on here. You might have whatever kind of background you have. You understand what I'm saying? Like you might speak French. You might speak English. You might speak Spanish. You know what I'm saying? The bar. What language is that you speak? I'm talking about your tribe. You see what I'm saying? Meaning to say that in every different cipher is different language. Yoruba is the language. You know what I'm saying? It's different things that people understand. Like what's communication? You understand what I mean? In that realm is something different. The whole way how you communicate. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, I'm communicating by talking. Y'all communicating by typing. See, all that's different language you gotta understand. Everything is not necessarily verbalized by words. There's all those different types of language right there too. See, like, look, even within ourselves, we gotta understand the language about how ourselves communicate with each other. And eat the proper foods, right, to facilitate that communication in the best way. But all that's only gonna come if you start from knowledge. And not, because I figured we'd get there. Do we have where's the high scientist that know 120? That's at least up on the 1 to 40. Cause I like to deal with a little something for everybody. Knowledge Born said that's a question I ask all the time. How many languages do you know? Because a lot of people think language is only verbal, right? It said, listen, even when people say, look, money talk and BS walk, that's the language of some places. And you could go in there and do all this talking, and the man's going to tell you, all right, get out. And then you could go in there and don't do no talking. And you pull out the money and you point, and you get exactly what you want. And whatever different cipher you in, that's what I'm saying. The way you may communicate with your dog, you know what I'm saying? You may have a hand signal, or it could be a whistle. Or, older school brothers will recall, Pig Latin. But in order to reach an understanding with those people, you got to speak the language. You got to be able to come to an understanding of ideas with them. Universal Builder said, in your opinion, is the English language we speak here in North America a language born out of trick knowledge? Born out of trick knowledge. What do you call it trick knowledge? I don't, there's a little bit when you say it's born out of trick knowledge. English is a language that it doesn't have a singular root. You know what I'm saying? There's old English is really a German language. You know what I mean? And England has been ruled by so many different people over time that it's words in the English language from almost every root of every language that exists. So, I'm not exactly sure which aspect, or do you just mean it's a European language? When you say it's born out of trick knowledge, or do you mean it's designed for trick knowledge? D. Christian said financial literacy. You see what I'm saying? That's a term. Because they realize that they use a language that everybody can now. What it tells you, right, for the wisdom build destroy degree brothers, what it tells you about language or what does it tell you that's related to language in the wisdom builder destroy degree in the 1 to 40? Who's this Greg Wright? Somebody keeps commenting. Don't they know I'm on live? Hold on, let me see if I can get this person to just come on the live. What you commenting over there for? What? That's uh-oh. Yeah, I might have to shoot me with the infrared. Wait, let me get back over here now. Let's just try and see if that person wants to come over here and build with us. All right, so Jasim said, what's the thing with the city birds on the roof? What you mean, what's the thing with the city birds on the roof? The pigeons? SW said, knowledge is thought, wisdom is the language, be it word or deed, and the understanding is the best part. Calm Islam, he said, if that were the case, the lessons would be teaching trick knowledge. Smell good. It said, my mom used to speak by spelling fast when I was a child. Spelling was one of my favorite subjects, however. Yeah, I remember those days when your parents would try to spell something out. But, yeah, your parents was always under the impression that you was a little bit dumber than you actually was. Universal Builder said, like the dualism or double meaning to words as opposed to languages, that there can be no misunderstanding as to its meaning because there isn't a word that has a similar. So he's saying, yes, is it designed in a way that you can speak with duality? I can see what you're saying. It's a little bit of a strange concept for me. You know what I mean? Because, I don't really take things on face value. You know what I'm saying? But in terms of for people that take things on face value, I can see how you say in English lends itself it kind of lends itself a little bit to misunderstanding. You know what I'm saying? Like if you look at a word like 8, do you mean the number 8? Or do you mean, you ate, like did you have food? You know what I'm saying? So I can see what you're saying. But I wouldn't mistake that, I wouldn't take that too far. You got to understand that within the context that it is. Calm Islam, he said, telling lies to the mother. Somebody else put here, revealing the secret. Revealing the secret. See, that's it. 2 ways that he used language. Blaylin Snotty, what's going on? Igloo. It's the first time we seen Igloo in here, right? We from Igloo. Smell good. The law was given. You see how they use the language? In the Wisdom Build Destroy degree, and how they continue to use the language in this day right now. Brother Philip, that's your name, Igloo? Is Brother Philip? Where you from, Brother Philip? But see, they use the language to what? Deceive and keep secrets. And then when they came back in the 1 in 36, what they use the language for? To deceive and keep secrets. So now to bring it up to date and make it walk and talk, you know what I'm saying? Back to what I started with. This is the traitor. A person that's coming amongst you using language to deceive and keep secrets. See, we use our language to teach and reveal the truth. Brother Philip, where you from? Musaddiq said licensing came into play because of the black man, or the original Asiatic black man. Once he obtained certain skills, they came out with the license. Divine understanding. Peace. Smell good said, teach you how to eat the wrong foods. Only watch the news to get your news. You Brother Philip on your other account? I don't recall Brother Philip from Angier. Where's Angier? But yeah, bringing it back full circle to the original question, right? How do you know the traitor? See, because like I said, each one of these things, every one of these stories, You know what I'm saying? Whether it's the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, whatever. Each one of these characters is people that we supposed to be able to identify when we walking around. Otherwise, you just trapped in the scripture where you want to have me dealing with the scholarship of it. So, like, if I went to those debates and all that, I ain't gonna win. If you want to research, thousands of years ago down to the letter, you're gonna win at that. But when we talk about applying lessons as solutions, right, to everyday things that we dealing with, that's my lane. Oh, Igloo said he's Supreme Shabazallah at the outskirts of Raleigh. Oh, we've been calling you Brother Philip. We've been calling you Brother Philip, huh? I don't really knowledge born. You recall Brother Philip? But that's peace though either way, man. Peace to Sabrine Shabazz. Shout out to Raleigh. Once again. North Carolina always have they always put numbers up in the room. I think every video we probably have somebody from North Carolina. But like I said, when you bring all of that into today's what we dealing with, see, that's why, the science of the 5% dealing with, right, is showing improvement and not showing and telling. See, that's why the science we deal with is showing improvement and not showing and telling. Because if you want to see what something is, what you do? You shine a light on it. You got to apply your knowledge. So an individual come up to you, right, and they start telling you something, you ask them to what? Show and prove. And see what happens. You listen, you don't even have to have the knowledge of self. A person don't even have to have the knowledge of self. A person needs the knowledge of self, right? To know not to. Well, I wouldn't even say a person needs the knowledge of self for that. You may not need the knowledge of self to know not to take things on face value. You just got to learn that lesson. Once you've been burned one time, then you may know, right, not to take things on face value. However, you won't really know how to examine. You may not really know how to examine, right, how to get the person to show and prove if they qualified or not. You understand what I'm saying? You may not know the proper questions to ask, right, to make this person qualify or disqualify themselves. But see, you don't have to have the knowledge of self, right? Once you get to the understanding of that, and the person can't show and prove, like whatever you're dealing with. Like if you bring a magician, right, that do magic tricks in front of a whole bunch of kids, and they can tell what his tricks is, hey, get out of here. Once you can't show and prove, it becomes obvious to everybody. Jamal Gray, what's going on? Don't shortchange your Almighty. Your knowledge of science and world history is very sharp. That's why, man. Oh, I'm thinking. He said, "Yeah, that's peace, Jamal Gray." Yeah, but you know all that. Yeah, with the linguists and the slides and all that. I don't know if that's for me. You know. Because see, a lot of that stuff, man, you know, we could go through that. We could discuss all that all you want. But right now, if nothing else, we need a word for right now. Like in the meantime, while it's hungry, naked inside the doors and also beaten and killed by the ones that advocate that kind of God, we need a word for right now until Jesus get back. Just for that right now. If you ain't got nothing for that time right now, then that's what I'm talking about. If the next thing you got to tell me is something that's gonna happen 1,000 years from now after I'm gone, then you could just go ahead and keep that. You can hold that down and just let me do what I'm doing. Smell Good said traitors have attempted to get me to talk when they want, fight when they need, lie with them and for them, cheat me out of my jewels, shun my name when I ain't around, get all quiet when I enter. Yeah. Jasim said it's also easier to see what to build and what to destroy, but it's also getting a little lonely. I mean, you gotta see me, I talk to myself every day. I'm funny that way. Every single day.
Your inner self.
Yeah. Listen, that's the most intelligent conversation I have most days. You know what I'm saying? I have no strange disagreements, man. You know what I'm saying? Things never get out of hand. You know what I'm saying? You know, nobody never has to do no apologizing or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, so I'm cool with myself, you know what I mean? And I got a lot of habits that, I could do by myself. You know what I'm saying? Like making music, you know what I'm saying? Different things that you would do to pass the time or whatever. You know, yeah, I like some group things. You know what I'm saying? But I could play spades, I could play solitaire myself. And you kind of got to be that way, being the 5%. Like, you got to think, listen, in the best of times, it's 5% of us. You understand what I'm saying? And it's always going to be those times. Smell Good says shaky characters, nickel slick tricks, swindlers, scammers, magicians of the hand, aka stop thief. Yeah, these is all the things, you know, that become revealed, you know what I'm saying, when you know when you know the right way to examine, when you know the right way to examine to make a person qualify or disqualify themselves. See, people get that twisted, in my opinion. You can't judge and all this. Man, listen. I'm from New York, man, where, look, I got to judge, you know, what it is that you doing. Because, see, if I don't use my judgment, right, then somebody else may use their judgment. And I may get caught up in their judgment of you with you. I gotta judge, all right, what it is you going to do, or what it is even that you came from doing. Or you going over there after you came from doing that? All right, listen, I ain't going with you. Because now if that goes wrong, now I get caught up in your judgment. We judging all things at all times. In terms of me, you know, saying if you a good or a bad person, you know, do you deserve to live or die, you know, if because you're wearing, you know, one color and I prefer another color, you know, or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Your parents decide to move around this block and my parents decide to move around a different block. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, you got fly sneakers and I don't, or, you know, vice versa, whatever. You know, if you making those type of judgments on a person and they entire potential in life because of that, that's one thing. But to say you're not judging, when you eat an apple and you like it better than an orange, or maybe you like it the other way around, whatever the case may be, that's a judgment that you made. Supreme Shabazz said, I'm gonna be honest again, I haven't been keeping up my knowledge or reciting it. Yeah, well, see, the worst death is a mental death. You see what I'm saying? And see, you know, this is another thing about language. See, that language was one thing that, you know, kept the devil together as one unit, because they speak the same language. People that speak the same language, especially when they in an adverse situation. If you ever had somebody, right, that you might have went to elementary school with them, but you never really spoke to them, you know, they was just in elementary, you never really played with them or whatever, you know, they was playing with another group of kids, right? But then y'all graduate elementary school and y'all go to junior high school. And when y'all go to junior high school, it's like, you know, a couple of y'all in there, you know from elementary, but then there's other kids from other elementaries and everything, people from other areas that you've never met before. Now, all of a sudden, you and this kid that speaks your same language, because y'all from the same block. Oh, yeah, you know this person, I know that person. We you know. We can exchange ideas freely because we in another midst where people are speaking different languages. See? You're in a little different situation where it's not the traitor disappearing, but you're in a situation now where this one person speaks your language, so you talk to them. See, I'm saying that to say that that's one thing that studying your lessons do. Dealing with your language. It keeps you grounded, keeps you from straying away, because you got to remember that as a 5%, you know what I'm saying? Just like I was just saying to Jasim, you know, we out here in the midst of the atmosphere. Like whatever it is, you know, when we go down to the supermarket, you know, it's probably mostly 85s down there. When we go to our jobs, it's probably mostly 85% there. We go to a family function, it's mostly 85% there. You know, for most of us. Some of us, you know, have done a fantastic job with teaching our families, you know what I'm saying, or the people around us or whatever. But you know, just the greater society that we in, you know what I'm saying, when we send our kids to school, all these different things, you know, or like the brother said, you know, generally speaking, we communicating in the English language. So what keeps us grounded, you know what I'm saying, in this, not just as teachings, but as a way of life. See, because remember, when something becomes your way of life, it's not stuff that you really got to think about. When certain things, they haven't really thought about it. They just know this is the way things are done. So that's one of the things, man, that you you can only be taken up to 6. As God, you can only be taken up to 6. Going to 7, you gotta do that on your own. And part of being 7 is knowing and understanding what your responsibility is in any cipher that you go in. You understand what I'm saying? And in order to make knowledge born, you have to have prepared yourself to receive the reward. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to sound like the Christians, but to receive the reward of everlasting life through dealing with teaching, man. Through being able to add on. You know what I'm saying? All right, I've fallen way behind again today.
It's 9 o'clock.
And see, 793rd, he said that one time they saw the same magician at 3 different birthday parties. It was a wrap for him. Yeah, see, they got too much chance to see his tricks now. People start figuring out his tricks, you know. It don't take a lot. Igloo said, I was the one that said the rapture already happened. You mean the rapture from like evangelical Christianity? Yeah, y'all ain't know I talk to myself. You know, one time, the brother said, that the law said if somebody walk up on you and you talking to yourself, you know what I'm saying, and you're embarrassed, just act like you were singing. You know what I'm saying? And you know, there's two things. At first I was like, all right, yeah, Allah, he's talking to himself too. You know what I'm saying? But then the other thing is, nah, I'm not going to act like I'm singing. I really don't care. Yeah. But see, that's the problem in any conversation. In any conversation, right? If you don't know who the people are in the conversation, you in trouble. You understand what I'm saying? Like, let's say you speaking to a cop. You know what I'm saying? And you don't know he the police. And you start engaging in a certain conversation with him. It's the same thing. You know, if you talking to yourself, but you think it's somebody else, now that's what I think you might be running into a little bit. But me personally, man, yeah, I answer back too. The bar said there's a saying in Yoruba that says, he who no one talks to must have a talk with self. Uh-oh. Abdul Rafi. Yeah, this is that's one of those types of sayings on many different levels. Like just off of, you know, right now off the top, you know, on the one hand, it's saying what I'm saying. That, you know, if nobody else is there to talk to, you know what I'm saying, for whatever reason, you know what I mean? Sometimes you dealing with a situation where you may have to separate yourself from these people for a reason. You know what I'm saying? You know, you gotta have your mind gotta be rich so that, you know, your levels of meditation, you know, could, you know, be to the fullest. You know, on the other hand, it's saying, right, he who no one talks to must have a talk with self, right? If nobody's talking to you, you know, maybe you got like a funky attitude or something, and you need to think about that. You know, so that's like a whole other level. That's all being communicated within that saying. Igloo said, I didn't understand the talking to yourself concept. What do you mean you didn't understand it? Calvin Green just subscribe to the channel. Welcome, Calvin Green. Thank you, DJs. Smell good said that part. My old dad was the police. I had to learn when it was time to go quickly hanging with certain friends. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You have to, this is me personally, when people say that, that's just something that I see as a crucial skill. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that it's not the case in the suburbs or the rural areas, but I would say, if you're a young brother, young man, you know what I'm saying? You're between like 6 years old and 30. That's just something you need to know, man. Like, that's common knowledge. It's not even a 5% thing, but you have to be judgmental, you know what I'm saying, of the people and the things and the situations that you interacting with. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, these people, they may be friends. They may be people that you grew up with. They may be people in your family that you related to. But you got to be able to say, make a judgment. All on the business said whiz means good and dome is doom. Means judgment. Abdul Rafi said you can judge, but it doesn't mean you qualified. What you mean by that? Because, like I said earlier, me making a judgment, a superficial judgment, right? And saying that the entire potential of your existence should be limited or boosted. Based on that is one thing. But, each man is qualified to judge. See, when you say, one person can't judge for another person, that's a straw man. I'm not trying to judge for you. I'm judging for myself. And if I judge that you're wrong, then I'm going to stay away from you. And I'm qualified to do that. I don't see how I could not be qualified. $793 said my old dad told me if I get locked, he's not coming to get me. So I also had to move different. All on the business said builders build. You have to be the builder you want to see in someone else. There is no mystery God coming to aid us. Born Reality came in. Knowledge Born said, that's why I say I'm never uncomfortable. I'm the true and living all wise. I know how to act at home and abroad. Supreme Scientist. Supreme Scientist. Let's see what Supreme Scientist is up to today. Divine understanding. You got to be immersed in the culture. You know what I'm saying? But divine understanding, that's the difficult thing for some people, right? It's because you gotta immerse yourself in the culture. You understand what I'm saying? Just adding on to what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? Is that that's the I don't want to say the advantage, but for those that can't maintain themselves on the perpendicular, right? Who can't maintain themselves on the perpendicular, then that's where religion comes in at. Because the religion will immerse you, you understand what I'm saying, in activities and ideas, right, that'll keep you, not mentally, but at least morally, you know what I'm saying, on the right path. Knowledge Born said I had to learn that I had to apply myself to the lessons so I could apply them to myself. Born Reality said that which they call the rapture is happening now. You mean with all this stuff going on? That's well, yeah, man. Wait, the rapture. I don't think about the rapture. But is that like the science? Like is this something that other people are drawing up or something? Is this like another? I probably gotta watch those channels. Igloo said if there's any guys in North Carolina that's willing to build with me, I'm trying to seek you out. Yeah, we got a lot of brothers. Anybody in here from North Carolina? We usually have a lot of people. If you keep coming in, we'll definitely be able to make a connection for you. Supreme Scientist said wisdom degree in the 1 in 36 by myself, master the why itself, so the devil can't put fear in you like the build degree in the 1 in 36. Igloo said, the rapture is when I was speaking on the microchip implant that's happening. Oh, people getting the microchip. A lot of that kind of stuff. I'm a resistor. You know what I'm saying? I'm a long time resistor. I'm sure that's on my file, wherever they got, me marked down at. So a lot of these things I'm not worried about. Like I never was doing that before. You know what I'm saying? So, like we talking about immunizations, I've been stopped with immunizations in the 90s. Before it was Hollywood cool and all of that, you understand what I'm saying? About the mentality of the people. See, they can have whatever plans they want. But the reality is that it's about the people. See, like right now, you see what they had to do in a couple of them different places in the Middle East. Like, I don't know how it's gonna come out now after these few current events. But see, they went over there, and yeah, your guns you could blast away. But you still got to build a trading post where you win the minds of the people. how they say you gotta win the minds and the hearts of the people. Somehow you gotta make an exchange of ideas where we got something in common, where we gonna make a deal. So it's the same thing right here. They can put whatever they want to put on the news. It's the way that people react to it. Flower Phrase said, that's just you trying to manifest your wisdom. I talk to myself too. Yeah. Listen, man, especially, I would say it picked up probably when I got the knowledge, in the morning, going to school, you know what I'm saying, practicing my degrees, and what I was going to say, you know what I'm saying, when it was my time to manifest my understanding, you know what I'm saying, that was one of my main conversations that I've been having since I got the knowledge. That's been one of my main conversations, you know what I mean? It's not the same exact conversation, but for the time when I left my house, I was going through my degrees and whatever was the understanding I was going to say, because back then, you come into a cipher, it might be 30, 40, 50 people. So, you had to come up with something that nobody else was going to say. And something you don't say all the time, too. So, yeah, I'm talking to myself. District 120 said, I talk to myself within and out loud, not amongst people, though. Now, I was born said, if nobody talking to you, you probably ain't got nothing to say. Exactly. Where you need to evaluate, you know what I'm saying, why that is. Born Magnetic said, when the mind is free, it has tendencies to speak out loud to put itself in check. First thought is the best thought. Now, as Born said, you can't be looking for equality. You got to be the judge of that. 793rd said, people, places, and things everywhere, urban, suburban, plus rural, one's better know one's surroundings from 6 to 30. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. For the time you pretty much go outside, I'm figuring, 30 is pretty much about the time brothers start going back inside. They kids is getting a little older. They starting to see the lessons, of a lot of things they parents was saying, just in general, you out there. You know what I'm saying? From that whole time, you got to be making judgments. Who's Fuquay Verena? Born Reality said, you judge according to your knowledge. That's your qualification. The bar said, I slip up when furious. Smell Good said, back in the Destroyed Ciphers, my old dad practiced the art of destroying ciphers of savagery I attempted to bring in the house through physical justice, beaten by many stripes. Yeah, see? Abdul Rafi said, if I don't care about your judgment, it's irrelevant. I mean, that's only, the sword is an emblem of justice, and it was used by the original man in Muhammad's time. This statement, let's be serious. On YouTube, it's like, listen, I don't like that stuff you teaching. That's one thing. But remember, people act on judgments. Things happen because of judgments. Like, see, I don't know everything you be saying. You see, if what I don't see people reacting that way. They don't. If Trump, let's say your position is Trump doesn't like black people. Most people are not going to say that's irrelevant. It's irrelevant if that person's judgment doesn't have an impact on you. See, so like you said, we all look at ourselves as righteous. But for that person that's looking at you, that's saying, "Nah, I'm not going to stay with you because of what you're doing." See, you may not care now, but then later, when you end up in hell, you will wish that person helped you come out right. See, that's why I said, when you talking about those little petty judgments or whatever, you're right. There's a whole bunch of people sitting in jail right now, right, that didn't care when people told them, "Nah, I'm not going to steal that car with you. Nah, I'm not going to rob that lady's purse with you." That's why I said, we talking about real life. I ain't talking about, if you outside and you just judging like, yo, you know what I mean? That cat, he got on a yellow shirt. I don't like yellow. Like, not even on no gang business. I don't like yellow. Or look, I don't like tomatoes. Like, if we go out to get a sandwich, right? And I tell them, don't put no tomatoes on my sandwich. And you be like, "Yo, man, you don't like tomatoes, man? I love tomatoes." All right, yeah, that's irrelevant. Until you go to the store for me and get tomatoes put on my sandwich because you like it. See, that stuff sounds good. But remember, when we talk about prejudice, what is prejudice? It's a judgment. But somebody has already made this judgment based on something about you that makes them determine your full potential based on this. That's why I said I specifically separated that. Musi D said, "Just heard my old earth on the phone with a weekly or daily prayer meeting, praying to the mystery God before I left, smacking my head." Yeah, that's this is one of them times where You know, the religious people, when I say religious people, I mean the teachers of it, they love a time like this. Why? Because something is happening above the people's heads, meaning they don't understand. And when the people don't understand, they run towards religion. So they're going to be having a merry old time right now. Asiatic mathematics said I have to disagree with that one, Lord. Most religious people where I'm from are into all sorts of decadence and savagery. Orthodox Islam and Christianity, when I was into it, never provided enough motivation to keep me from doing negative things. Yeah, you wasn't following the practices. You didn't have the prerequisite amount of fear. So you have to, in the religious world, you got to have a prerequisite amount of fear of the mystery God. But if you're in the world and you're not really believing that, yeah. All right, we done got into a side rally over here too. Young Dub, Arkansas in the building. Asiatic mathematics said it wasn't until I realized I was God and developed a hunger for information that I became motivated to do the right things. Being righteous is not holy. Abdul Rafi said, for you to administer justice, then I would have to care. Like now, you don't know me, I don't know you, your judgment is irrelevant. The U.S. Embassy is a trading post. No, that wasn't mentioned, but it is a trading post. As W said, in Muhammad's time, you're not running around cutting heads, literally. Owner of business said, tell that to the judge. You get hit with the gavel, that's going to affect you for better or worse. Most for worse. District 120 said, when someone judges you, they are going off what you say and do, even if at that moment in time, what you reflecting was other than who you know yourself to be. You could be acting other than and not even notice it. On the business said, what about when your educator's judgment determine your educator's judgment determine whether you got your next lesson or not. In that case, you were qualified or disqualified. What? The minister had an ankle bracelet. What are you talking about, small goods? Musaddiq said, I used to follow the religious practices of Islam to a T until one day I woke up and seen things a little clearer. What I was locked in, I thought I was Malcolm X once upon a time. Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, you know, Abdul Rafi, you kind of missing the point. Because it's irrelevant that you think someone's judgment is irrelevant. What's relevant is if that person is able to make that judgment to say, okay, I want to stay away from you. Like right now, this is what I'm saying. People that eat pig, they feel like your judgment that you don't want to eat at the same restaurant with them is irrelevant. At the end of the day, what difference does it make? I know not to go in a restaurant and eat with them. Pastor Tony spell defies the law. Like again, this is kind of a straw man argument that kind of goes along with this, do what you will is the whole of the law. Pastor Tony was going to preach. I don't even know who's Pastor Tony. I keep telling y'all, man, I don't know these people. Halftime. Peace. No more hiding. But it's kind of a sidebar. But that's the type of mentality, you hear this type of talk, when, and I'm not saying that about you, Abdul Rafi, but I'm saying a lot of times, you hear this type of talk from people that don't want to study their lessons. You know what I'm saying? People that don't want to be in tune with this culture to a certain amount of degree, then they'll say things like that. You can't judge for me. Who are you to say this and that about me? Having some kind of responsibility, to uphold your unit of the cipher is just a part of being a cohesive culture. So that's why I always, been a little bit aware and a little bit leery of that type of mentality. that, once you take that mentality as a part of your mathematics, then anything and everything you do, right, becomes positive. You know what I'm saying? And then, the way I see it, we start to deal with the subject of the last video. You know what I'm saying? Can a devil fool God? Yes, a devil that he's making. And he's fooling himself about what's really going on. You could easily slip into that when your mentality is that these people can't tell me nothing. The idea that there's not a standard for things. Like, how do we say, this is the best part, the understanding is the best part, or whatever, if there's no standard to judge by? $793 said, along with the other jet-setting preacher pimp who prayed and smited away. See, I don't know why y'all going after these preachers, man. Universal 7 said, appreciate the bill on judgment. Definitely brought better understanding to me on if I should judge others. Yeah, you gotta judge others. You understand what I mean? You're not judging, like I said, the totality of their potential as a person. I mean, depending on what they did, too. Like, there's certain things you could do that limits fully and totally your potential for coming around me. But see, look, y'all brothers, y'all get exposed to the tape. Y'all get exposed to the tape, things like Allah speaking at a earlier point in having the knowledge than I did. But how many people heard on the tape where Allah said, look, man, we don't talk about people. We talk about what they do. 85%. Wow. Man. Now, when you say 85%, right, you mean eating pig? Because, that's a whole other level for me. But it's a lot of levels to it. It's a lot of levels to it. You know what I'm saying? In terms of people that decided that this ain't for them no more, and they decided to go a different direction. But man, I mean, hundreds, if not thousands. That would be a fairly big number, man. That would be a fairly big number. I mean, if we just called off a roll call of brothers that was there, and that kind of had me charged up. The other day I spoke to a brother that, me and him, we grew up together in this, step by step, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's part of the reason that I know 120. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was a brother that, you know, every day when I saw him, you know, that was the, you know, what degrees you on now? Because me and him is on the same degree. So it would be like, you know, say like today's degree, you know, he might come in, he know like half of the degree. He know up to, you know, the nurse's law. You know what I'm saying? I might only know up to the minister's law. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about the competition was thick to the point where if that was the case, right, then I would go around somebody and learn the next two sentences word of mouth. Like in the next, you know, in the next hour and a half, I'm gonna be back and I'm ahead of them. Yeah, but I'm saying that was my brother though. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't like a, you know, it was, well, you know, like I was telling somebody earlier, you know, I went from playing video games and who had the highest score to who know the most lessons. You know what I'm saying? So it was that we was kids doing that. Chad Sim said, I think judgment is good to be used as a mirror for self-reflection and correction. Is what you think and what you are manifesting in line seems to be a prerequisite step to judging others. Well, yeah, I guess you prerequisite is a good word, but I mean, you know, it doesn't even work. Judgment of others doesn't even work until you judge yourself. Until you've calibrated your own scale, meaning like let's take the same situation. You know what I'm saying? You a young brother in the hood and people come up to you, you know what I'm saying? They say, yo, we gonna steal a car. Okay, now if you think you're a gangster, if that's your idea of yourself, you know, that either you are a gangster or you want to grow up to be a gangster, then a total different judgment is in order for you. You're not going to judge to say, okay, let me stay away from these people if that's what you want to do. That's you know, you don't even, your scale is not calibrated until you've applied justice to your own self. Abdul Rafi said, no, I'm not saying it like that. I'm talking about the unknown. What you mean you're talking about the unknown? I mean, you know, I'm just saying that a lot of times, you know, we get involved with these sayings. You know what I'm saying? You know, you don't care what nobody think. Yeah, until you coming back saying, yo, why these 85s ain't doing the knowledge of what I'm, you know, then you care what they thinking. You know what I'm saying? You know, or, you know, I don't have no regrets. You know, if you don't have no regrets, you probably a pretty, you know, you a messed up individual. You know, if average person, I'm saying you don't got nothing that you a messed up individual then. For a lot of people. You didn't have no standards. Like, that's something that, you know, is a part of new age mentality and philosophy. is that everyone should reach this point where you don't care what other people think. You know, you're not embarrassed or ashamed, you know what I'm saying, nothing. You understand what I'm saying? You know, just as, you know, a man, you know what I'm saying? You know, like, you know, I don't know if that joke would be as funny to the modern generation. Like, remember when Cedric the Entertainer, where he said that joke, grown ass man, dog. I'm a grown ass man. Certain things I'm not gonna be doing, man. Certain things I'm not gonna be doing, man. You're not gonna catch me doing that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like when your grandparents or your parents or whatever, if you pass, like, look, 793rd in the room here, know what I'm talking about. When your grandparents would tell you that, listen, man, if you end up in the emergency room, right? Your grandparents tell you, listen, make sure you take a bath every day and always have on clean underwear, just in case if something happened to you and you end up in the hospital. You and listen, this is what I used to be thinking. Like, if I'm in the hospital, what you worried about if I got clean drawers on for? What you and shit you be worried about how I end up in the hospital? But I'm just saying that there was standards, there were certain things that we used to be able to say, even in terms of, you know, listen, I wasn't there, but I know this person's standards. And at least, am I back? When did I cut out? Hold on. Let me come back in. Original Seed and Peace came in. Scientific Allah. Son of Solomon said Islam in regards to religious precepts and ritual to combat, for lack of better words, evil of self and mankind. The way of life of Islam has been here on earth since inception of this planet. Okay. Yeah, I don't know when I got cut off. Yeah, see, knowledge born, he remember what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Your parents tell you, you know, if you end up in the hospital, you gotta have more clean. Like, if I end up in the hospital, you know, at a level where I can't control if they taking my pants off, like, wouldn't I be a little bit more concerned with that? You know, somebody, if you get hit by a car and you end up in the hospital, you gotta have clean drawers on. Like, if I get hit by a car, why you ain't worry about me getting hit by the car? But yeah, that, you know, just certain things where, you know what I'm saying? I never really, you know, maybe, you know, like I said, that's, you know, that's what I'm explaining right now. That's part of, you know, how I was raised. You know what I'm saying? You know, there's certain things you know what I'm saying, where, you know, in terms of being whoever you are, you know what I'm saying? Or if it's something about what you got, you know, I was taught, you know, not to really let what other people think affect me like that. But when it came to, you know what I'm saying, certain things that was supposed to be standard, you know, rather it was amongst all human families, or rather it was amongst men, or rather it was amongst this family, that there was a certain standard, and, you know, the world is watching. See, like even in science, you know, every day, like I said, when we going out here and we teaching, right? What I always say, if you a savage, yeah, you're gonna have a hard time teaching. If the people don't see a civilization in you. So, you know, that's just a thing. Like I said, we was this whole thing is a sidebar, but you know, and you know, that's one of the things, in my opinion, that that's one of the things that can kind of explain a lot of things that's going on right now today. Is that we've allowed standards, you know what I'm saying, just as an entire society, we've allowed standards to go away. We've allowed standards to be made to seem like a bad thing. No doubt, Universal. So things that, you know, nobody, remember back in the days, you know, people used to have that kind of saying that, you know, a person wouldn't be caught dead doing something. Reveal what's going on. Remember that saying? You wouldn't be caught dead doing this. Because otherwise, like I said, if we not going to judge, right, how you know what's the best part, the poor part, and the worst part? How you going to preserve that? Because it's not just, it's you know, it's every situation. And it's, look, even in a person, you know how it's a person, you know what I'm saying? You know, anybody that grew up in the hood, right? You knew a person like this. That they was a grimy individual. In terms of on the streets, you know, the things that they did that they was known for doing, they was a grimy individual. But they always looked out for you. Like you might have had, you know, anytime you had a problem, this person came and made sure you didn't have no problems. You know, they used to take you to the store. But to other people, they just struck fear in them when they saw them coming down the street. So now, at the end of the day, right, of that person, just dealing with that person, of that person, right? SW said a lot of brothers treated me like that, right? Of that person, of those people, you got the best part. Jasim said, I know a dude that stole everything out of everybody else's house, but I could leave him alone in my lab and not have to worry. Smell Good said, hell yeah, OG, my man to this day. See what I'm saying? District 120 said, I got a few I can call like that to this day. They keep it 100 with me, but others, they be on they head tough. You see what I'm saying? You got the best part of dealing with that person, I'm saying. Whereas other individuals that ran into them got the worst part. And some people got the poor part. I'm just saying that to say that it's every situation that you going into. See, each one of these people that y'all just mentioned, everybody had to judge for themselves. See, everybody that saw you maintaining with this person and being peace, they couldn't, just take that on face value that that's how that person was going to be with them. 793 said he knew women and men like that. Yeah. Where, you in a relationship with this female, you know what I'm saying? And, you treat her one way, you in a relationship with another female, you treat her a whole different way. You see what I'm saying? See, even you ever have a relationship with somebody, you know what I'm saying? And, y'all get into an argument about something.
It's 10 o'clock.
And then y'all let that go, right? Because y'all don't want to get to the worst part of the relationship. Y'all want to preserve the best part, so y'all let that go. All these is judgments. Scientific Allah said, devil, Satan, God. That's powerful. Celestine Best. Smell Good said, I had to explain to my old dad why he showed up at our front door one day to get a CD and to see if I was coming out. I reserved the right not to mention that part though. But see, on the flip side of these things, right? Certain times we had to make a judgment, right? From all these different people that we speaking of right now that was like that. We had to make a judgment that, listen, this particular mission that you're going to do right now, I'm not coming with you. Like if it was something else, I might rock with you. But, I know what you're going to do. I know how you get down. I'm not coming with you. You know what I'm saying? So, in terms of the person, what Abdul Rafi is saying, that friend who you might be saying that to, he might don't care. But the relevant part that still is relevant is that you was able to save yourself. Man, we moving right along tonight. I didn't even know Y'all knew 2.5 hours passed already? We must be in Twilight Zone. I don't even recall all that time passing. See, that should be happening, man, how I end up with these lives being too long, man. 793rd said a woman told me she could have done me all type grimy and used judo to flip arguments into not even happening. Preserving the best part was the result of the majority of relationships I've had. Halftime said, interesting conversation. Day one, first hour of walking and talking, my educator told me in response to something I said that everyone should be judgmental. I now have a much better picture though. Yeah, that's peace. I mean, you know, everything that we saying, right? From the time we deal with the science of mathematics, right? From the time we deal with knowledge, that's already, that's got to be weighed and judged. That's got to be weighed and judged. You understand what I mean? For us to say it's shown and proven, it's got to be weighed and judged. You understand what I'm saying? See, not judging, that's what leads you, you know what I'm saying, into religion. You know what I'm saying? You know, like I said, you know, there's different levels of everything. You know, and part of what Rafi was talking about, and also part of what I was talking about, is that, you know, the different people's judgments. Different people have a different ability, you know what I'm saying, greater or lesser, to impose their judgment, you know what I'm saying, or to impose the, rewards and penalties of their judgment. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning, like, you know, we send our kids to school, right? And, you know, based on this neighborhood, this ethnicity, you know, this income level, whatever, right? They put your kids in a particular class or something that may have more or less resources just based on that judgment. Just based on, you know, you live in this neighborhood, it's zoned for this school, so clearly this is your profile, this is the type of person that you are. So, you know, that's part of what, you know, different people is, you know, it's come up in the room, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, it's a topic that's out there, you know what I'm saying, dealing with racism. You know what I'm saying? And how, you know, you got to be the dominant group in order for your racism to really rise to that level where it impacts the minor group. Because it said this car is for you to go to school and work. No joy riding around with a bunch of your friends in that car I bought you. Yeah. You know, that's a standard. You know what I'm saying? Where, as standards get laxer and laxer. You see what I mean? Because, see, especially, you know, you talking about with your pops, you know what I'm saying? You know, something about seeds, right? They have to fall off of the tree. You understand what I'm saying? In order for the seed to thrive, it's gotta disconnect from the root and the whole rest of the tree. You know what I'm saying? And it's got to travel a little ways so that it could be in its own light. If the seed just drops right there under the tree, right, then it might be in the shade of the tree and never really thrive to the fullest of its potential. So the tree, the seed is necessarily going to fall from the tree in order to thrive. But what it depends on too, right, is how much nutrients went from that root to the fruit. When I say the fruit, because the seed is within the fruit. See how much nutrients went from that root to the fruit during the time when it was connected. It's going to determine how strong that seed is in maintaining. So by the same token, you know what I'm saying? You know, our parents, you know, give us whatever lessons, you know, and we always going to test the boundaries, you know what I'm saying, and go outside the lines. But depending upon, you know, how good the teachings of the standards and the principles and everything that was already put into us, right, will, you know, help us to maintain. Original seed says, if you had to be all or one of Yakub's doctors, ministers, nurses, or cremators in the Wisdom Builder straight degree and the 140, which one would you choose to be and why? You know, it's funny that you asked this question because I was just saying how I was speaking to a brother I grew up with. You know, we wasn't Yakub's doctors, ministers, nurses. That's definitely out there. I you know, I would have to think about what you're saying. I'm gonna come back to what you're saying. You know, but you know, at that time, the cipher that we had, and it was more of a joke. Like, it wasn't something that we was going around saying. You know what I'm saying? You know, or it wasn't like something we was teaching or we had those types of names or something. But the type of cipher that we had, it was kind of like that. You know what I'm saying? And I was the doctor. I was the chief examiner. You know what I'm saying? I was the person that approached you and, you know, asked you what your name is, where you from, you know, 120, you know, how you see this, how you see that, you know. Now, your question specifically is if I had to be one of Yakub's doctors, ministers, nurses, and cremators. You mean if I'm like, I mean, I don't see how I could have ended up on the island of Patmos at that time with him. Yeah, this is one of those questions. Yeah, I would have to ask you how you see that to to draw it up. I don't even and it takes a lot for me not to have an answer. If I had to be working with Yakub. I mean, I don't think I would have made it. I'm a resistor, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure if I was out there, I would be somebody who paid with their lives for the laws that they broke. Hold on, let me catch. What happened? Alright, here we go. Why does my thing keep sticking? Supreme Justice said reverse the polarities and we become all of them at one. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We wasn't for Yakub, but Smell good said I just saw a baby inside the womb still connected to the umbilical cord in my mind when you said fruit attached to the root receiving nutrients. He said, hey, who y'all talking about now, man? So get so much you had to do what he said or they was coming for your neck. That was District 120 said you would have to be one that is going according to the law. I would have been the one revealing the secret. I don't know. I mean, all right. So yeah, you saying in the reverse polarity? Well, yeah, that's who I was the doctor. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have a nurse. We didn't have a nurse. You know what I'm saying? I guess you could say collectively we was kind of the nurse. Where like, say I came up to you, you know what I'm saying, and we seen that, you was a young brother and you was just coming to the knowledge or whatever, then we all would pull the pins out. We all would pull the pins out. Like, nah, guy, this is science right here, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Or young brothers, we'll add on, you know what I'm saying? If you came through and you was building, you know what I'm saying? Like, you was a positive brother. It was another brother. He was the oldest amongst us at that time, like the team that we had, you know what I'm saying? And so he was the brother that would, be like, all right, he was the minister. Like when he accepted you, you know what I'm saying, then you was good. You know what I'm saying? If he said, and this is just general, even if we didn't just meet you, like if you just came to school with us and he was like, yo, this brother right here is lacking or he not true and living, then you was gonna have a rough ride. You know what I'm saying? And then we had my other brother that I spoke to just the other day that I was telling you that me and him came up, he was the cremated. Like if the conversation went the other way in terms of you showing improvement, like if you couldn't show improve, then that's when the guy came out. You know what I'm saying? That's one of them things, we wasn't supposed to be no more doctors, ministers, nurses, and cremators. So that's one reason why I'm telling you that, we wasn't, propagating that in the atmosphere and nothing like that. But literally, that's what you saw when you saw us. $793, so the first time the vid and the sound is in sync. What's the Now Justice National Anthem? Yeah, maybe my technology is getting up now. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? We got a good, nice amount of people came in tonight. You know what I mean? Kept it flow. We had some people coming in, some people coming out, but all in all, we did what it do. Halftime. So what we got? We got any questions before we wrap this up for the night? SW said, why we get a bad rap? Who got a bad rap? I gotta get my workout in late tonight. Yeah, no doubt, man. Anybody that enjoyed the show, you know what I'm saying, or enjoyed the live, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Yo, one reason I want 1,000, because then I could put my t-shirts right on the, what's the name? I got some new designs. That's almost ready for y'all. On Friday, they said it's supposed to rain now. I mean, it's still a go right now. Yeah, I want to get to the 1,000, man, so then I could go live right from the app. Everything could be more freer. Could do all types of links and stuff. A lot of stuff they let you do, man, I appreciate that. I guess I guess YouTube is like YouTube is like the 5%. You gotta show and prove before they what's the name. Am I? Yeah, I don't know what happened while I froze up. Y'all was waiting. Nah, I didn't get a chance to send the alert out today. I should have sent it out. I got caught up. I was talking to this other brother. Yeah, I was talking to this other brother on my on the line. He called me on the line over here, the random Jews line. So then I got caught up, and then I went to the supermarket. Got caught up down there. That's why I ended up being a couple minutes late. So that's it. You know, I always like to say that my teachings are so clear that there's never any questions when I finish. That's because the examiner is precise. I'm precise in my measurements. I administer the proper dosages. Jasim said doing 120 days straight, meditation, yoga, lessons in the morning, then fast for 3 days after that, then back for another 230 days straight. Oh, that's what. Hey, 230. What 230? What's that? Okay, we got a question here from Abdul Rafi. That's a good what's the name right there? You know, and some of this stuff you can double up. Like when you're doing meditation, I don't know if you use the words, you know what I'm saying? But I know a brother who like he's like an expert at that science. Like meditation and yoga, like he's been to India and studied with the real Brahmas and stuff like that. And he said that those mind they use. I keep going in and out. I suppose y'all hearing me, but did y'all get the part where I said, you know, this brother, you know, he's been to India and studied with, you know, the cats over there. You know what I'm saying? And he said that all of those mantras basically means, you know, I am God or I am one with God. You know what I'm saying? And you know, even when you're doing the yoga, you know what I'm saying? You know, cause I got a couple little positions I do. You know, you could be going through your lessons while you know what I'm saying, going through that too. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, you know, and that's actually, you know, it's a kind of drill. You know what I'm saying? Like you might be working out between your sets, you quote your lessons. You know what I'm saying? But now because you fatiguing and your heart, yes, and I mean you quoting it, it's under a certain amount of pressure right there. But yeah, I do all that kind of stuff. So uh yeah, I don't know how much I missed. I think I caught up. Abdul Rafi said, "What does black man from the East mean?" Universal said, "I also meditate using the singing bowl." Hmm. Yeah, I'm not. I mean, maybe I've seen it, but I'm not aware of it by name. The singing bowl, the Tibetan singing bowl. Abdul Rafi said, "I was reading something and it was saying how East means inner self." Hmm. I mean, that's definitely an understanding to draw up. You know what I'm saying? That's definitely, you know, an understanding to draw up. You know what I mean? That's something, that's an idea that could be developed. I don't know what it is that you read. You know what I'm saying? Uh, you know, in the degrees though, you gotta realize that, you know, we here in the wilderness of North America, which is known as the West. You know what I mean? Generally speaking, you know, everywhere that is controlled by the Caucasian is known as the West. You know, West Asia. So, you know, the wise man from the East is speaking on that part that we chose for ourselves. You see what I'm saying? Ever since we made it, I don't know what degrees you knowledge, but that would be in a knowledge degree in the 1 to 14. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, these, you know, just like I was saying, these standards, these morals, you know, principles, whatever it is that you have within yourself, you understand what I mean? You know, you know, when you going out into whatever atmosphere that you in, you know what I'm saying? You being a wise man because you basing it on the knowledge and wisdom that's within yourself. You know, if that's what you mean, you know, I don't know what you read either. You gotta tell me what you read. You know what I mean? Because you could also just be talking about this science that uh, Eastern philosophy is known to deal with a lot of internal science, whereas Western philosophy is known to deal with a lot of external science. But I don't know what you read. Smell Good said, "I'm not sure. However, I think that's the algorithm noticing words. It seems to pause, check, reflect on what was said, then return the video if it's not controversial." I mean, you know, yeah, it's definitely funny style. I don't know what the. Josh Simpson, I heard there was a black man buried in the East, so I went with my shovel, but what I uncovered was my true self. Abdul Rafi said the sun rises in the East. Indeed. What is this? And one thing, y'all, these side rallies be high powered now. What degrees you knowledge, Abdul Rafi? You've been coming in the room for a while. You know, it's starting, yeah, you know, the first wave of people, the first wave of people that's from this room should be, you know, finishing up 120 lessons. You know 120, Abdul Rafi? Jassim said it wasn't until I looked for myself in the coaches of the East that I was given the courage to stand up straight. Yeah, Rafi, you know a lot of answers is right there in the lessons, man. Dr. Degenstein, peace. You know, a lot of answers is right there in the lessons. You know what I'm saying? You know, one of the reasons why, you know, I start from the lessons, I always touch on the lessons, is just to show that, you know, a lot of things is just a matter of going in depth. I asked you if you know 120 before. I'm funny that way. But see, you know what that is. You know, not that it's a particular thing, like it's a particular test that you have to pass. You understand what I'm saying? But, you know, that's kind of based on a judgment. You know what I'm saying? Like when a person speak a certain way, then I'm like, all right, yeah, this person know 120 lessons. Josh Simpson, I wish I would have found 121st, but I don't know if I would have understood it the same way. I mean, if you got it as a kid, see, that's another thing that I think, you know, it's one of those things that they call, it's one of those things that they call counterintuitive. But see, the knowledge is easier for you to understand if you're a kid than if you're a grown person. The way it was, I got sidetracked reading something right there, but you know, getting the knowledge, you know, getting something that's for kids as a kid, it makes it easier to understand. All on the Business said Hiram Abiff was from West Africa. Arabia is in the Far East and is bordered by the Indian Ocean in the south. Abdul Rafi says, sometimes I'm asking questions to build on. To build on with who? Smell Good said, in viewing other lives, some hosts ask folks to refrain from cursing back to back to back, like a sailor unable to monetize a so-called ratchet full of smoke video. Yeah, they don't let me monetize. Matter of fact, that's another thing that's on 1,000 views. If I had 1,000 views, then I could do that. The super chat, all of that, everything y'all see me not doing that y'all see everybody else doing, it's 1,000. All right. So you saying you just put a little statement out there sometimes for us to roll around in our minds. See, because you're going to notice that for the first, you're going to notice that over the time when you have the knowledge. Or just in life in general. Where, you building with a person, right? And the person, you dropping signs on them. So this is memorable to them. You know what I'm saying? But the person is not saying nothing to you, so, you don't really, they like, yo, you recall that day we was there in the cipher, it was a lot of us you was building on. Like, yeah, I don't really recall you, though, because, that's a science of building right there, of visiting each other's mind. That's a part of the building up of the relationship between us as brothers and sisters. It's going through the science of this mathematics. So, even in a situation like that, where you ask a question and introduce to the cipher, just, for us to build on, you got to manifest your understanding on it. You see what I'm saying? And then next time, I would recall, just like state of the art here, I recall that he's on the power degree in 1 and 14. Because, see, he don't shut up. Not saying you to do like him, but just saying that, that's one thing that's why I said sometimes, you got to be able to look at something where the lesson is not obvious. See, state of the art, sometimes he don't know what he's talking about, but he speak with authority. And he gets his point across. Everybody remembers state of the art. And there's all a certain science to that. That's also about magnetic. That's about going out there and being able to teach, man, and being able to get across to the babies. You see what I'm saying? State of the art. I just read what he said. He told me he going to Antarctica. District 120 said, I found 120 lessons first online, to be honest, but I stopped looking at it because I knew it was a certain way to look at it, and I didn't know how, but I was thirsty to know. Yeah, I mean, however you come in tune with the knowledge, see, again, like I said, that's the made planet science. That you can't really decide that. You understand what I mean? But you can grow out of that. You know what I'm saying? The reality is, the same way how that degree tells you that it's 5% in all walks of life from highest to lowest, it's 5% that have come from all walks of life from highest to lowest. And their, path and their journey from all those walks of life to all the walks of life that we are right now is infinite as well. The key is, by the time you get to be the beginning and you start to manifest planets that come from you, when you born your own 5%, what will they be teaching? Yeah, I saw it freeze, and then now it went red. Yeah, they telling me to get out of here. It's that time. Yeah, it's that time, man. They keep kicking me off, man. I don't like these freezes. I don't like these freezes. So, peace. You know what I'm saying? To all the brothers and sisters that always come in here and rock with me. The Jam Sport Posse was in here. You know what I'm saying? Side Rally Smoke Squad came in. You know what I'm saying? We had some Earths come in. We forgot to point out that we had the shirts. I forgot that when Queen Devon Z and them was in here. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the NOI brothers, the Morris Science brothers, the Hebrew Israelite brothers, everybody that plays the background, you know what I'm saying, and just do the knowledge, you know what I'm saying, all the other human families out there, you know what I'm saying, and first and foremost and last but not least, peace to the gods and the earths. Catch y'all tomorrow.